So the big question is this: how are those in the self-storage industry like us going to be successful in today's market? That's the question, and this show will give you the answers. My name is Jim Ross, and welcome to the Self Storage Show.
Hey everyone. Hey, before we get started, I invite you to go to 3milestorage.com. That's the number 3milestorage.com. When you go to that website, you'll find my new book is available. Unlock the Power of Remote Management for Your Self-Storage Business is available. There is a free ebook version and also a link that will bring you to the physical version that you can order. So again, enjoy and go to 3milestorage.com. Hi everyone, this is Jim Ross from the Self Storage Show. Today's episode, this is going to be a fun one. I got Jonah Hall with me. He's the co-founder of Smartlock Self Storage. How's it going?
Thank you. I'm having a great day. How about you?
Good. Yeah, you came on my radar because I'm always on the lookout for operators and all that. They're kind of pushing technology for their operations and doing the remote management kind of a thing. And I'm trying to remember exactly how we connected, but that's how you came on my radar and
Yeah, absolutely.
reached out.
Yeah.
Started talking
Yeah.
to him. Like, you'd be a good person to come on the podcast, so I appreciate you coming on.
Well, we're obviously of the same mind on how to do it and how it should be done and how it probably will be done by and large across the country here shortly, whether people get on the wave or not. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so the more that we kind of bring this topic into light, the better for everybody. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad you're willing to come on. So if you don't mind, yeah, kind of give us a little brief introduction and how you got involved in storage.
Sure.
We'll go from there, man.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'll start with, I guess, just the shortest version of the storyline as I can. Uh, Smartlock is only a couple years old, but been in self storage for about 5 years. I was working for a small family office that owned a bunch of retail assets in Texas, and one of those little retail assets that used to be a Dollar General had gone dark, and I wanted to convert it to self storage. Didn't really know anything about self storage at that time. Just know I wanted to do it, and so I had some mentors in the industry that were sort of the remote managed pioneers that were well before me. That I sort of copied and watched what they did and learned how they did it. And that very first facility was, like I said, Dollar General. So we're talking about 8,000 feet, not a very big footprint, but that thing filled up in 6 months. It was paying more than the Dollar General was paying in rent when they were there, and so suddenly it's like, maybe that wasn't just a cool side project. Maybe that's a business model. Let's look into it. And so we really, I gained a partner just right after that project, and we really wanted to push the testing of what we could do with that little facility. So we got to use it. Thankfully, it was small enough that my customers bear with me, long enough for me to test all sorts of software, all sorts of credit card processors, all sorts of hardware, customer service tactics, phone centers, everything we could think of. We really got to use that as sort of the test bed and the guinea pig facility. And we kind of sort of unveiled version 2 in early 2020 of what we do, which is more in line with what our model is to now and the tech stack that we have in place today, and decided it was time to scale. And so I had to figure out how to raise money, which thankfully that went well, or that might have been a different story, but we raised our first few $1 million in early 2021, actually. Went and did 4 conversions. We're almost all conversions at this point.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of ground up going on and some value add where we can find it. It's been a crazy couple years, but a lot of conversions. Grocery stores, big box retail, furniture stores are usually our primary targets, but we've done roller skating rinks and bowling alleys and all sorts of things so far. And it just depends on the market and what's available in that market. We really do focus on secondary, tertiary markets. And so what may be available in a 15,000 person town in Texas may be a lot different than what's available in Dallas, where I'm at. And so anyway, in a nutshell, we went from one sort of proof of concept in 2018 to a couple more, I'm going to call them proof of concepts, but version 2 proof of concepts in 2020. And then we started building this company in 2021. We're up to 25 or 26 locations. 8 of them are open today. The rest of them will be opening in the next 6 months. So we're kind of on the tail end of a whole bunch of construction across the country on that set. We're always building and doing more. Doing a couple a month is sort of the target right now. We've got 8 people on our acquisitions team, including a title attorney and a bunch of underwriters and market study people, 3 construction managers, an architect, several on our operations team. Obviously, we started from the operations standpoint and then brought accounting in-house recently. So it's really kind of a full service real estate development company now.
Nice.
And all built around this one concept of remote management, technology, and self-storage, and what I like to call self-service self-storage. That's kind of my go-to language for how I'd like to describe it. Is we do self-service and everything else. Why not? You go to McDonald's, you got to order off a kiosk. You go to, you want to order food at home, you're using an app. Why can't we have self-service self-storage? So
No, that's perfect. It's kind of interesting because this last couple of years, because of COVID, I mean, COVID kind of kicked everything in the butt as far as people like trying to get this model working. And it was so funny watching the industry just kind of follow what kind of term they wanted to agree on. Was it unmanned? Which I hate unmanned. I hate that.
I hate that term. Man, it's a bad word, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, it just sounds like it's crappy customer service. Like, no, I don't want unmanned. And so I think we've all kind of fallen on like the remote management. I've all agreed on that. But I like the self-service storage. That's good too.
Yeah, I think it's a little more in line with what I'm trying to do. Remote management is one part of the piece.
Yeah.
And the other part is allowing enough technology and customer service features for the customer to just do it all themselves from a customer service standpoint, not just a property maintenance standpoint. And so, yeah, I really like the term self-service. It's kind of the term we're going to adopt and use going forward. You need all those other terms, right? The contactless rental or the touchless rental, as tenant calls it, or the virtual management, some of these companies will call it, but whatever it is, the concept's the same. We're all trying to help the bottom line, help customer service, and really take down assets that no one else can afford to manage.
And that's something you just hit on. I want to kind of focus on that, the customer service aspect of it. Because, again, I've been kind of beating this drum for a while. But to me, the more that you can automate and the more that you can do this kind of model, I think it enhances the customer service experience.
It absolutely.
Sometimes I get pushback from owners going, I need the manager and the one man at the site. You know what I mean? I'm sure you get that too.
We definitely did. I think we have enough proof now that I don't really get that as much, but it's definitely the first thing out of everyone's mouth is they just assume, hey, if I don't have someone on site, how are they going to do this and this and this? I'm like, well, I got an answer for all those. You can go through those one at a time. That's fine. Or how about we just go read the reviews? What do people say? The people that actually experienced the touchless rental and the contactless move-in, or whatever you want to call the term, how did they like it? And it's pretty clear that they loved it. They love the ability to rent on their phone. 5 minutes later, they're standing in their unit and unloading their stuff. They love that. They didn't have to talk to anybody, especially the younger generation, but I think it's everybody.
Oh, no, it's I mean, grandma and grandpas are using iPads for the last 10 years now. So, no, I think...
I know, that's for sure.
I think it's our own bias, frankly, of this is the way it's always been. This is how it's going to work. And it's worked in the past. It's going to work in the future.
Yeah.
I talk to enough people and we go to the shows and you start feeling the temperature of what's going on. Things are shifting this way. There's no going back.
And you've taken over existingly occupied assets before, I'm sure, as far as management.
That's what I do.
So that is harder. Granted, changing the expectations of an existing customer base harder than opening up a new facility and starting with your technology in place. Clearly, but it can happen and it works. I think the best thing to point out, is my probably most impressive story to date was a value add project, even though we've only done one because the last 3 years people are paying 4 caps for things that used to be 7 caps. But we took over a site that had called 190 units, something like that. 60% occupied, almost all cash or money orders, a little bit of checks. really poorly managed. They'd been through a lot of managers and stuff like that. And we go in and we implement our technology, of course, pretty up the facility a little bit, paint, do whatever, new signage. But it really came down to the rental process. You go from that to our rental process, and overnight, you've changed what type of customers you're attracting. Now you're attracting the customers you want, but you still got this existing customer base that still wants to pay cash and doesn't like change and whatever it may be. So it's hard, but over the course of, I think it took about 7 months. So this was a painful experience, but
Yeah.
7 months, it went from probably 5% digital payments to 100% auto pay. It went from, 65% occupancy to 97 or 98% occupancy. It went from well below market rates to some of the top market rates. But it took 7 months to re-educate the existing customer base on what's normal.
And what are you doing in that 7 months? I get this question a lot. And in those 7 months, I'm sure it's communication, and more communication, or just about
It's a lot of things.
auto pay, or what are you guys doing?
Yeah. Okay. So let's go through a real life example. So this facility needed a little more TLC than most probably, and I don't mean just a physical TLC. We were implementing new technologies that at the time were sort of in beta mode. So we had our own. I don't know that it would have taken 7 months now as it took 7 months then. It might have been done in 90 days. I don't know.
Yep.
But we were implementing new locking technologies. If you've ever done a door replacement, it's the same thing. You got to have security on site. You've got to notify the customer. You got to let them know, hey, I'm going to be opening the door. If you want to be there, you're welcome to, but we'll have security on site on this day at this time, however many days in advance their lease says, right?
Yeah.
So we did that for the entire site, and it took 2 or 3 days, and we converted the entire system to Noki. So every door on the site now has a Noki latch on it. This was Noki 1 in 2020. So this was sort of their first few batches of Noki 1.
Yeah.
Then we did, obviously, our website overhaul. Their website was just a single page, non-rentable website. And we switched over to our tech stack and got our website up and running. And then, of course, yes, lots of communication. You got to communicate that, hey, 30 days from today, we'll be switching to digital payments only. We will not be accepting cash. We will not be accepting checks. Or auto pay, for example. Forcing auto pay is something that people used to say, you can't do that. And even I won't deny it. I had reservations on that one. I was a little nervous that saying you have to set up auto pay would affect lease up rates or affect the ability to stay stabilized. It didn't. People don't care. People are excited to set up auto pay. But the things that it helps us as operators that's so exciting is you just limit it. You just took away 25% of the calls you get every month. You just took away with your website and the ease of use and good signage on site. You just took away another 25% of the calls you get on a daily and monthly basis. And so now our overhead and our cost to operate that facility isn't just cheaper because we don't have a manager on site, but it's cheaper because we're not handling as many issues as we used to have to handle because it's all automated and people have the tools in front of them to learn what they need to learn or make the decisions they want to make or change their auto pay method or move out, move in, whatever it may be. And so that's all now something they can do themselves. Now everybody won't choose to. And so you do still have to have a great call center and great customer service to be there. But most people choose to do it on their own because I think that's kind of the world we live in now.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic. You kind of went through your paces, having to test everything and and go through this and learn as you go.
And it didn't all go as planned that first time.
It's
obviously gotten a lot better, and our onboarding processes have gotten a lot better. But that was the first time taking an existing 180 customers that have one expectation and saying, nope, here's the new expectation. And with some kinks along the way that were our own fault. It took a little longer than probably it would today, but it's doable at the point. And that facility's worth 2.5 to 3 times more than it was when we bought it. And that's a no-brainer because of all the things that you can do that are relatively easy. Just you have to be patient, stick with it, and understand that there's green on the other side whenever you implement all these things.
It's like talking to the customer. It's like, trust us, you're gonna love it. Just trust the process.
And they do now. I mean, you go look at the reviews now; people love it. So,
No,
And
that's
it does get easier too. One last point on that. It does get easier because every time you have a move out, the next person moving in has the right expectations from day one. So your customer base of people that are still sort of trying to understand it, it gets smaller and smaller over time. And pretty soon you've completely filtered out all the people that may have had frustrations or difficulty in that first few months of switching over all those processes or software methods or payments or whatever. They're not even there anymore after a year or two or three, So it changes over time.
No, you kind of burn that off. Yeah, again, the reason why I wanted to have you on here is because, again, you're operating this, you've tried everything, and just the more that we can talk about it and people are listening,
Yeah.
it's going to open up their mind a little bit to be like, oh, this actually can work for my facility.
Yeah.
So that's
Absolutely.
and one thing that comes up a lot is, okay, so you don't have a manager at the site.
Mhm.
What are you doing for, maintenance and cleaning and all that kind of stuff? Maybe you can touch
Yeah.
upon that a little bit.
Yeah. We've decided to go slightly different route than other people that are out there that are kind of doing the same thing. Um, for example, there's groups out there that are doing this at a pretty good scale, even a bigger scale than we are today. Maybe not a bigger scale than I plan to be, but bigger scale than we are today. That have sort of well, you hear it in the industry called the hub and spoke model, right? You've got
Yeah.
sort of a hub of maintenance and cleaning crews or whatever, and you've got them rotating. We've chosen to go a slightly different route, which I think extends our geographical reach a little better. It takes a little more upfront setup, but I need a certain team of locals in every location, and I have to keep that team full at all times. And so, for example, if we've got a site in northern Missouri and I'm in Dallas, that's a 14-hour drive. I don't want my customer service people having to make that trip more than maybe once every couple months or once every quarter to do more of a deep dive audit, which means I need my local people to do cleaning, rolling doors, light maintenance, all those things. And so we have a local set of contacts. Usually it's the retired male guy that has the unit in the back and works on his lawnmowers. It's that kind of guy. He's happy to help. He's like, I'm here every day anyway. I take some pride in this facility being safe and clean because my stuff is here. That's usually the best bet. But sometimes it's your local landscaper wanting to make a few extra bucks, and he's there once a week anyway. Or it's a local cleaning service, like a home cleaning service, and they say, "Oh yeah, I can handle a storage facility. I'll do that for you for a price that is significantly less than having someone on your payroll there, right?" I think on average it's somewhere between $400 and $600 a month, probably for the average facility to have somebody clean it, roll doors, maybe a little bit of light maintenance, maybe a sliding glass door gets off the hinges and you got to move it back, or not hinges, the track or whatever. Those kind of things come up and they got to be handled. But we handle those with a team of locals. And so by having a team, you always have somebody that's going to say yes. If you only have one local contact, good luck. Things are going to go wrong, right? And so my operations team, they know their highest priority is keeping at least 3 on every facility's list at all times. And if one of them lets us know, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, or they just haven't been very reliable, then we'll go ahead and add a 3rd or a 4th, in this case, person to the list. So there's always somebody to reach out to.
No, that works out perfect. Yeah, that's just something that always just comes up, so I want to make sure we kind of address that because
that's right. It's a concern people have for sure.
Oh, totally. I'm just kind of thinking through this as well for these sites. Another question that comes up a lot is, well, this only works for like the really small locations, right? Like I've talked to people that have 50, have some that have like 1,100 units and are doing this kind of model. I'm just kind of curious where you kind of fall in that spectrum.
I think our average site today is 30,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. So not tiny, but not big either. Sort of small to medium in industry average. Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a sweet spot from a return perspective on the concept, but it's just the spot we've fallen in so far.
Yeah.
People like, 10 Federal have pushed this apparently to like 120, 130,000 square feet. I haven't gone that big yet. Yeah. We've got a facility personally that's, when phase 3 opens up, will be 105,000 square feet. That will be managed this way. And then our very first site, as I mentioned earlier, was 8,000 square feet. And that was gross. Rentable was like 6,500 or something. And so nobody could ever manage a 6,500 square foot facility with a person, there would
Yeah.
be no income. There'd be no net income left. But you could manage 105,000 square foot with a person and still be profitable, but you can be a lot more profitable with a remote management model. And in my case, a lot more scalable. And that's what I am really focused on. What me and my partner are focused on is how do we make it so refined that we could go anywhere and do it all from Garland. Garland is the suburb we're in Dallas, and all of our operations managers, anything customer service related happens in these walls right here, and then the local contacts help with the rest.
No, that's fantastic. I know people are probably also listening to this and they're asking themselves, if you're free to open to saying this, you kind of tech stack that you use, software, things like
I
that.
don't mind saying it. So I we are always testing new stuff. So
Yep.
what I say today may be different, a month from now or a year from now. And it's definitely was a different a year ago. So
Yeah.
my partner's a software engineer by trade,
Oh,
and he has allowed us to really speak the language of software builders. The people out there actually designing the software a lot of times aren't storage people, which creates an issue when you're selecting your software because they don't understand the actual reason that you need this feature or this
yeah.
thing to work right. They have
Yep.
no context at all. They only know how to build widgets and make it look pretty, right? And so we've tested, I won't say every software because I don't know if that's true anymore. It was true whenever I was used to say that a couple of years ago. We had definitely tried everything 2 years ago. I
Yeah.
saw a lot of new software at the Vegas show last September or October. So I assume I have not tried I've demoed all of that at this point, but we have found a tech stack that we like. And right now that's a combination of about 7 different vendors. Um, we built an internal call center software that my partner built. We did uh, a lot of tenant ink products. We really like the Hummingbird platform for us. It's a platform that's allowed us to scale the way we want, and they've been really in tune to our needs because we kind of got in on the ground floor, if you will, with that company. I
Yeah.
mean, they've only been around for 2 or 3 years, 4 years, and so being able to get in there early, we were able to ask for features and they actually got built, and so it's hard to go to Storable and ask for a feature,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
unless you're public storage or something. So it's been nice to have that kind of flexibility with them. And then of course I mentioned Noki. We are currently have a Noki latch on every single door in the portfolio. I love Noki for what it is. It's the only way to do what I do today. That won't always be the case. So if a better product comes along, I'm not gonna say I won't try it because I will.
Yeah.
It's all about scalability of the platform. So if something better comes along, we'll try it. But today, there's not a competitor to the Noki product that allows me to do every step of what I'm doing the way I'm doing it. I would have to take a step back as far as customer service if I was to switch to a different system.
Sure. Okay.
No, and there's others. Obviously, there's a ticketing system that filters into our property management software. There's several different other pieces of software to make it all possible, including integrating some of our camera systems and um, HVAC systems and all those things in order to manage all that from here. So,
Nice. But yeah, that's a good cornerstones of what it takes to operate like this. So you hit on those. That's what I was curious about because that's the one thing that a lot of owners and all that, especially if they have 1 or 2 sites, they don't want to do the brain damage or trying to be the guinea pigs and trying to go through all the different software. So
please don't.
yeah,
I did
exactly.
that. I did that for you. Please don't do that again. It was really painful. In fact, I know some people that have tried to do it around the same time as I was doing it, and they gave up. And I don't blame them because it was very difficult to get through the tech difficulties that happen when you try to mix multiple software and hardware vendors together that don't communicate well, and you kind of have to be the middleman sometimes, and it can be very frustrating. But thankfully, we've made it through the other side of that, and now it's very rare that that's the problem with a facility. And now it's maybe user error. Sometimes people don't have the Bluetooth on their phone or whatever the little thing
Yeah.
maybe. But we've kind of got over the major hump of actual tech difficulties that came on with the onboarding and implementation, thankfully. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, I think this conversation is as brief as it was. At least it helps people kind of see the path, to augment their facilities, whether it's ground up
Absolutely.
or take over a location. I'd love to have a part 2 with you, and I'm going to
I'd
kind
be
of delve
happy
more
to.
into.
I'd love to talk to the people that that whether they're like you said, just have one facility and they want to automate it. One, it's doable. Contact yourself, contact me, whatever. I'm not really managing one-off sites. That's not my business, but I'm happy to help. I love talking about it and teaching people what we've done, and then but really those guys that are out there that have a portfolio of 50 and they're just giving them all to the REITs, like there's a better way to do it, a better to your bottom line, a better customer service standpoint, and they're missing out. Whether it's in a major market or a smaller market, it doesn't matter. There's a better way to do it, and they just haven't caught on yet. And so I hope those guys catch on too. I think that'll really change. There's a lot of no-name family office, private equity groups that own 50 assets, and they don't know any better. They just sign a contract with one of the REITs, and that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. The REITs they're good at what they do, and they have access to a lot of data and a lot of stuff that helps them out. But there's a more lucrative and better customer service way to do it. And so, it'd be fun to talk about how that future is really going to look. It may not be quite as aggregated by 4 or 5 names as we think it will be if more and more people catch on to this before they can. So,
Okay. All right. We're going to do a part 2. We're going to talk about exactly that. I want to talk about the more customer service impact, just their journey of going through it and how they do it now. So anyway, so this is a spurred any, conversation or questions you got. Do you mind giving anyone your contact info? They can reach out to you. That's a good email.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you're looking for me personally, LinkedIn is probably the best place to go. That's Jonah Hall at LinkedIn. My company is as well on LinkedIn. And then obviously want to rent a unit, you're welcome to go to our Smartlock Self Storage website. But we are putting together an investment website here shortly as well, because we're going to be raising money pretty heavily next year for a lot of new opportunities that we're wanting to do. And so I'll ship that over to you as soon as it's ready. But in the meantime, if you want to reach out to us, my email is just Jonah@Smartlock Self Storage. You're welcome to email me. My support team, my operations team is support@Smartlock Self Storage. And again, we're going to be rolling out a kind of an investor portal here shortly for more and more of these conversions, because we're ramping up to do 2 a month, and we want to do them all over the country. So pretty excited.
That's fantastic. You're keeping busy.
Always.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you, Appreciate it. See you.
Bye.